I think we have everyone here, a part of our virtual media briefing around Snowstorm Izzy. Obviously, we are getting snow across the city of Roanoke and Roanoke Valley region, and we appreciate everyone joining the Zoom today just to connect on the city of Roanoke's snow operations around mitigation and the removal, and then of course emergency preparedness and management as we are addressing the needs of the community. Just want to remind everyone that we are recording the Zoom today, as well as to please keep yourself muted. We will open it up with Battalion Chief and Emergency Management Coordinator Trevor Shannon, and then we will also then punt it over to our Transportation Division Manager, Dwayne DeArdenan, and then we will commence the media briefing with a 10-minute Q&A, and we will take questions from the media as well. And I will now open it up to Trevor Shannon.
Yeah, good afternoon. So we just want to start off giving a quick briefing of how things are going in the city today. At this time, it's been a busy day, obviously, for our transportation division especially. But what I will tell you is that this is a coordinated effort with, as you can tell, several city leaders on the call today, and many departments represented throughout the day and the week prior to planning for this storm. So we do continue operations, snow removal, and also fire EMS and police response. So we have to be vigilant out there. We will continue to remind you to stay off the roads if you don't need to go out. We understand that some people have to get out or have to go to work. But just remember, any delay or any response you have to have fire and EMS or police come for, whether it's a stuck vehicle or an accident, causes a delay and possibly another emergent call. So we continue to remind folks to be vigilant, stay off the roads if you can. If you need to go out, then we understand that, but just be very cautious and make sure you bring that preparedness kit with you. Our responses for public safety are delayed right now. Many of the fire and EMS vehicles, and as you'll see Chief Hoback on the call, are running chains, so they have a limited speed that they can run at. So there's a lot of things going on in the city today, and as you can tell, all the leaders are represented here. But we just ask the public to really listen to these messages, and we've been pushing them for several days now.
Thank you, Trevor. And then Dwayne, we can go through, of course, where we are currently with our transportation team, where we have been, of course, since Friday in preparing for Snowstorm Izzy, and then, of course, the plan moving forward as our snowstorm changes, and of course the accumulation changes as well.
All right, thank you, Lauren. I appreciate it. And Trevor, that was a good intro there. And no one on this call is more happy that we're looking at a 5 to 7 inch storm or a 5 to 6 inch storm rather than a 12 or 14 inch storm than me. I would like to say that we've got a whole bunch of folks in the city that work on this snow removal effort. It's not just transportation. There are 6 divisions within the city that are actually snow fighters that are out on the streets. That includes transportation, parks and rec, stormwater, solid waste, facilities. It's an all hands effort. Fleet obviously helps us out. We do have about 95 snow fighters that are on the streets. The city is divided into about 18 zones. Most zones have 3 snow fighters per zone per shift. So we work 2 12-hour shifts. That's 24/7 operation, and we will do that for as long as possible until the streets are back to where they're down to the blacktop and completely passable. We are noticing at this point we've got anywhere between 4 and 5 inches of snow on the ground on the city streets, depending upon where you are within the city. And we're expecting another 1 to 2 inches between now and 1 a.m. when we anticipate the precipitation to end. I will say that since Friday, we started with the pre-treatment and the anti-icing. We've got about 11,000 gallons of salt brine that we put on city streets. And then last night we had a night shift in at 11 p.m. and they went in and with some rock salt and went into the neighborhoods pre-treating where we know there are trouble spots where the anti-ice trucks did not get to. As of today, as of about 5 minutes ago, we had put down about 300 tons of salt. And we'll continue that until we get through this event, until the precipitation stops. At this point, we have focused primarily on arterials and collectors with our snow fighting staff, and we will continue that until we have an opportunity to get ahead of that a little bit and get into the neighborhoods. We also have had crews out on greenways and sidewalks that adjoin city property. And those have made one pass so that tomorrow it'll be an easier cleanup day for them. They will be back tomorrow. And then our facilities group will be in this tomorrow as well to start on the libraries to get them addressed so that they can get open back up. So with that, that's pretty much an update of where we are and where we plan to be in the next 12 hours.
Thank you, Dwayne. And then also, if you could touch on, of course, the clearing of streets and the types of streets that we are going to focus on just in moving forward, obviously addressing the main streets first, and then of course, our neighborhood streets as well.
Sure. So the crews will continue on what we call them as arterials and collectors. Most folks know those as main streets, but the Hirschbergers, Orange, Franklin's, Brandon's, those type of streets is where we're focusing. That's what carries the main volume of traffic. We will not be in neighborhoods until we get ahead of those streets. And what I mean by ahead of those streets is they are fully passable. So once those are fully passable, then we will get into the neighborhood streets, but we have not and will not make progress in neighborhood streets until we are ahead of the game on the arterial streets.
Thank you.
Yep.
And now we will open it up for any media questions and inquiries from those who have joined. Please feel free at this time to just simply unmute your mic, and you can show your webcam or you don't have to, but of course, just take yourself off mute and then please proceed in asking your question.
Hey, Dwayne, this is Ashley Bowles with WDBJ. I just want to ask really quick about the exit ramps. Obviously we had to get into work as journalists, and so going on exit ramps seemed to be definitely a little bit more difficult than like you were talking about the main roads or 581 for that matter. So is any attention being paid to those ramps?
So all of the VDOT ramps, the interchanges, those are all handled by VDOT. The city crews do not do anything with any of the interchange ramps. So sorry, we will not be able to help you with that particular question.
This is Tom Burr with WFXR News. I'm just curious, how's the city doing with staffing? Do you have enough people out there working? Has it posed any particular problems at this time?
So we do have, between our vacancies and folks out on COVID, we're about 25% down, and that's not just snow removal. That is pretty standard practice for us these days. That said, crews are making good progress based upon where we are in the event, and we will continue to make progress, and we will just continue on until the roads are back to normal. But good question. Thank you for asking.
Hello, this is Brittany McGraw with WSLS 10. This question is for Dwayne. Can you give a specific number of snowplows that are out in Roanoke City right now? There are some of us who, of course, because of the nature of our job, have had to be out and about on the roadways, on the main roads, and we have not seen any plows. So how many are there out right now? And how often should folks be seeing them? Because it's always a question that we get from viewers. We haven't seen any plows. Where are they?
Well, we do have on the day shift, there are 49 plows. Between some of those are four-wheel drive plows, some of those are spreader plows. And on the night shift, there are 27 plows. That's on each side. So again, day shift, you've got 22 on the north, 27 in the south. So that's a total of 49 plows on the day shift. And on the night shift, you got 45 plows, 20 on the north and 25 on the south.
And then in terms of seeing them, like if we are on 460, because several of us have been, how often should we be seeing these plows out? Because I think that has been a concern for folks, that while the roads are passable, it's still pretty rough out there.
It certainly is, and that's not surprising given the road conditions. All I can tell you is the plows are out. We have an AVL system that we know where they are. and they are out and about, and that's all I can share with you. We monitor and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Hi, this is Alicia with the Roanoke Times. This is a question for Chief Shannon. Can you tell us what kind of call volumes you're seeing, number of wrecks? Are they unusually high or pretty normal for this type of weather?
Yeah, not at this time. I mean, there has been an increase in vehicle accidents for sure. But I may defer to Chief Hoback as he kind of monitors our dispatch center a little bit more. But you know, and I also want to add too, I missed this in my intro. I think we need to give credit where credit's due in our 911 center. They're doing a fantastic job keeping up with all the calls and maintaining communications between our crews out on the streets and our first responders as well. So got to give them a lot of credit. You know, it's obviously a busy time, and I would remind folks to only call 911 if you have a true emergency. But to answer your question, I'm going to defer to Chief Hoback.
Yeah, from the fire EMS perspective, we're about average for the day. The difficulty we're having is that the calls are taking much longer to answer and process and complete because of the travel times and the slowness of the vehicles that are chained. We do and have upstaffed our ambulances, and we have a couple of our ladder trucks that have 4-person personnel on the ladder trucks. We did have a fire this morning, a small fire on Edgelawn, but for the most part right now it's moderate call volume. It's not really heavy, but the difficulty is that what normally takes us 50 to 55 minutes to complete, now it's almost 2 hours based on the travel distance, running chains, and things of that nature. So I don't have any report from the police department. I think Caitlin Klein is on and can maybe give you some information about police.
Hey, I was trying to stay a little bit silent over here. I don't have a lot of intel. I do know we have a couple of traffic crashes, but nothing too crazy. And just like everyone has echoed before, please stay at home if you can. You know, we want to keep everybody safe. We are going to have slower responses, so you might be waiting on us a little bit longer. I know that goes for fire EMS as well, but just be as careful as you can. If you have to get out, take that emergency kit, take whatever you've got. But if you don't have to get out, please don't, and stay at home.
And are we able to make any kind of estimate at all as to when we might be able to get to the secondary roads?
It depends completely upon the precipitation. As the precipitation intensity rises and falls, you know, if we can get caught up, then we will get into the neighborhoods just as quick as possible. I mean, I should add, if the precipitation is done by 1 a.m., which is what they're expecting at this point, then overnight, certainly we will get into the neighborhoods. And by in the morning, there should be some progress that you will see.
Just to reiterate a little bit of what Dwayne has said, is our focus needs to continue to be on those major streets and the Valley Metro bus routes. Only in the last hour or so is the precipitation started to slack off just a little bit. And so our operators have truly been focused on those major streets and those bus routes. So as Dwayne indicated, as we start to see the precipitation slow, the operators will have a little better opportunity to do some more cleanup on the major streets, and they'll have some opportunity at that point to move into the neighborhood streets. But until it stops and the major streets are cleared, any work that gets done in those neighborhood streets is really kind of a luxury that the operators can judge based on their progress on the arterials.
And if no one has any further questions, I don't see anyone's mic being unmuted right now, which is my indicator of questions.
Lauren, oh, I just wanted to throw
Ashley.
one more in there. Hey, sorry. So obviously for the next 24 hours, you know, we'll have to see how much snow we get. The prediction of 1 to 2 inches, you know, we still don't know exactly the total. What are the city's efforts going to look like tomorrow? And this is really geared for anyone who can answer it. But, you know, once the snow actually stops falling, obviously removal is number one. But, you know, what is that going to look like, especially being a holiday and things like that? I know we had talked about city staffing.
from an operations perspective, what happens tomorrow will be exactly what happened today. We'll have everybody on board and working out in the city streets. And once we move from arterials and collectors, we'll move into the neighborhoods.
Thank you, Dwayne. And if there are no further questions from the team, then we will go ahead and wrap up the virtual media briefing. Please feel free to obviously email me or call me throughout the day, those who are attending, of course, and still have additional questions or need additional information from the city, and more than happy to take those questions and inquiries as well. And of course, just want to remind everyone to please communicate out to the community to obviously stay at home, and please refrain obviously from using our greenways as well, as we do need to make sure that we can focus on clearing and cleaning the streets. So I think that will wrap us up for today, and appreciate everyone joining. And again, stay safe and stay warm as well. It is obviously very cold outside, and appreciate your coverage and attending. And that will wrap us up. Thank you.